everybody. Oh, sorry for the lateness. Let's sort my camera angle out. There's the producer. Off she goes. Good evening. You might have noticed we're missing somebody. Lee is not very well. It's not COVID related. He's got some tooth trouble. So we're flying solo tonight. But if anyone wants to join in as we ramble on through beer and industry conversation, let me know. I'll send you my Zoom link and we'll patch you in. I'm always happy for a last minute co-host to come join us. So whilst all the notifications that we're live start hitting people's phones, I will spread the link on the socials. So give me a moment or two while I just do this. Copy link. Copy link. Let's get it on Twitter first. The Phoenix pub is open. Michael Hagan. He needs a dentist appointment. 2:30. He is 2:30. Poor lad. I rang him just before we came on, and he's not very well. So big love to Lee. Lee's home, by the way. I don't know whether people are aware of this or not. He's not made a massive... Well, he's put it on Facebook anyway. But Lee is home from Portugal, and he's brought the weather with him. We're not on Facebook. We had a technical problem setting up the dual live stream on Streamlabs for some reason. So we are not on Facebook. So what I'm going to have to do is put the link on Facebook so people know to come to YouTube. So I'll have to do that now. Just bear with me one moment. I had a technical glitch with the stream. We're over on YouTube. There we go. So that's on there. Share that. And let's put it on LinkedIn for good measure. How is everyone anyway? Well, looking forward to the bank holiday weekend. The weather is looking up. It's actually sunny for a change. We've got some good weather. We've got some good weather finally after all this rain. We've got some sunshine. Cheers everybody, cheers. Hope you all are going to enjoy this bank holiday weekend. Let's get my stream open on my phone, just a moment. There we go. Wunderbar. Let's turn that down. Excellent. Right. Michael, I've got your email, just if you're watching. So, thank you. What a week. I put on Twitter on Tuesday that at the end of Tuesday, after day 2, I felt like I'd done a week's worth of work. And I got quite a lot of engagement, which I'm guessing everyone's had a very, very, very long week. Say hi in the chat for people who are just joining us. We're a man down this week, so I'm going to ramble on. It is a bit quiet in here today, Mike. I think there's some kind of football final on. That might not be helping matters. But we'll plough on, because this will be available on demand, and there might be some nuggets of interestingness for people to watch back on. But we might have a short one today because I know it's everybody's bank holiday weekend. We've all had a long week. The football's on. The weather's decent. And I think people just want to chill out and relax. Perhaps rather not talk about Windows. But that's okay. We've got a few other people watching, so that's fine. Callum's on. Callum, if you've got a missed call, pal, it's because I was going to ask you if you wanted to be a co-host for this evening. And you're still more than welcome. All I need to do is send you my Zoom link and I can patch you straight in, pal. So that's what I was calling you for. So there we go. Oh, we'll go up to 6 now. We're getting him in. Lee's not here to say his catchphrase, so I'll say it for him. What's everyone drinking tonight? I'm on Doom Bar. In the Zoom Bar. There we go, look. Not sponsored. Doom Bar. Lovely. Oh, yes. Can't have too many. Working in the morning. My turn in the office. So yes, Callum, if you are up for joining me in this tonight, it won't be a long one. Not like last time, but if you fancy joining for an hour, let me know in the comments and I'll send you my Zoom link and we'll patch you in. No problem. I asked Michael, but he's a bit camera shy. So, never mind. Tea? He's drinking... Michael's drinking tea. It's Friday night, man. You haven't got work in the morning, have you? Michael fell asleep last time. So we had Sean Wood as a special guest. I think he's going to come on. I'm looking at Tad Ropey. Callum, don't worry, mate. Look at state of me. I'm knackered. I've got lines. I've not moisturised today. Don't worry about it. I'm sure you look far better than I do. But yeah, Michael fell asleep during the bit he really needed to be awake for. Shan was, if you go back onto our YouTube channel, you'll find the last live stream we did, and she dropped some very worthwhile knowledge and information on SEO, on internet search, on general marketing online. That first hour is definitely worth a watch. But Michael fell asleep. So there we go. Callum, if you're still watching, you don't need your phone. Just if you've got a laptop with a webcam, I will send you my Zoom link. Don't drink lots of alcohol. Personal. Yeah, fair enough. What about hot chocolate? It's Friday. Live it up, man. Paul Robert is at the Caravan. The internet service is dire. Paul Roberts, for those who don't know, works for a company called Festa. I went to go see Festa a few weeks ago and we need to nail that. I'm going to go back and see Paul at his showroom in Huddersfield soon as I can get a free date. Might be a week or two, Paul, just if you're listening. Festa do some insane entrance doors. We're talking pivot doors, 3 metre tall things with ceramic and wood and fingerprint tech and the kinds of doors that go into your super self-build £1 million mega houses you see on YouTube and Grand Designed. Absolutely mega doors. So really looking forward to hopefully working together on a couple of things. Callum, in the comments, if you are up for it, pal, and you're ready, just let me know and I'll send you the Zoom link and we'll have a chinwag. Grab yourself a couple of beers as well. We'll have a drink while we do it, of course. Michael's had a curry. Has Michael had a homemade curry? I know he likes to cook, does Michael? Puts his creations on Face Space. So Paul's at the Caravan. Feel like people are moving out about a bit more. Perhaps not abroad, but within the UK, I think people are a bit more mobile now, which is great. Good way to get away and unwind. I know there's a lot of stressed people. Demand is still ridiculous at the moment. In fact, we've had one of our busiest weeks in terms of new leads all year. So there's absolutely no sign whatsoever the public is going to calm down anytime soon on spending on new windows and doors, which is a good thing. But I've had some fairly dire, and this is perhaps something we'll talk about later on, but I do want to approach glass, or rather a lack of it. We've had some pretty dire warnings. I must have had a few this week that we're going to... Yeah, Callum's going to join us. That glass is going to be in short supply. So if you'll just bear with me, ladies and gents, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop onto there. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Jump there. Callum, I'm going to send it to your Twitter DM, pal. So just keep an eye on your Twitter in the next 10 seconds or so. Right, that is in your inbox on Twitter, pal. So I'll keep an eye out for you. Excellent. Michael had a takeaway. Good man. Yes, so dire warnings on glass. Just to add to all the other things that we're about to run out of. So there we go. So we'll just wait for Callum, see if he'll wait. So let him find his invite, and then we'll patch him through. Excellent stuff. Good man. So Paul's at his caravan. Lee is probably in bed now, Paul lad. He's come home. He's spent months in Portugal with all that fine weather, sunshine, sea, sand, mansion of a villa he stayed in. Michael's saying silicon. Yes, silicon. We are running out of silicon. We're running out of all sorts. So this week we've had warnings on no white spacer bar, no grey spacer bar. I know of at least 2 systems houses that are limiting or stopping for the time being orders on non-standard foils and colours. Decorative glass we're short of. And glass, I know low iron glass, there are concerns about low iron glass. I mean, other than that, we've got plenty of everything. Here we go. Hi, Callum.
Evening.
How are you?
Yeah, all right, not bad really. Thank you. You?
Not too bad at all. Thank you for joining us at this late moment.
I literally woke up about 10 minutes ago. I'm going to be honest. I had napped when I put the eldest one to bed. So.
Oh my! Yeah. I didn't want you to feel forced. I didn't want to drag you away from anything.
No, they're fast off. They'll be asleep till about whatever. But
I'm just going to turn you up a little bit. Cool. So, how's things with you?
Yeah, busy. Yeah, a few things happening next week. So after the bank holiday, the bank holiday is going to be a busy week.
Excellent.
You get my message on Twitter the other week about?
I did. I'm sorry. I've absolutely run ragged at the minute. We'll have a catch up early next week, and you can tell me all about it.
Yeah, go on then. Because next week D-Day eventually.
Have you run out of stuff yet? I mean, all I've had this week, we've had messages.
Patience, yeah.
I can't. We're speaking with some other people this week, and we're a victim of our own success. We're at a point now where we're not going to have almost anything that we need to make windows and doors at the minute.
I've seen certain people who have had windows but no glass, which is 90% of the product. So good luck that one.
We can make the frames, but we don't have your glass. Is that all right?
I mean, sell it as it's perfect for ventilation. You'll never get mould, and everyone's happy. What more do you want? You don't need trickle vents because you ain't got glass. So we've solved that problem.
Or we could just say we've invented some super clear product. It's there, you just can't even see it.
You can almost touch the outside. In fact, you can.
100%. It's mad. Honestly, we're just saying. So I've had warnings on grey spacer bar, white spacer bar. There is the two systems houses that are stopping non-standard colours on and foils. Decorative glass we're short on, and then I've had warnings this week on low iron glass. Apparently, it's getting dangerously low.
Low iron glass. I think that's if you're really pushing the U and the energy ratings. Spacer bars as well is a problem. Obviously, if you're looking to meet those, but the non-standard foils. I mean, I know that will annoy some people, but there's that many that are available anyway. And how many do we actually supply on a regular basis?
I've been told someone's run out of white foil. That would be a problem.
Yeah, that would be.
That would be a problem.
Is that a main systems house, or is that a foil company? Because obviously that's used the same.
I think it's a systems house, but I don't think they can get it from a foil. I think that's how I understand it. I think the foil company can't make enough to provide. So
I suppose that's a problem if you've got a lot of what the classes, I guess, as dual foils, where you've got a nice colour on the outside and a white on the in. That uses a hell of a lot of white foil.
That is a popular choice, Callum, isn't it? Dual, white wood grain on the side. It's
your flush, for your vertical sliders. For me, if I had the right property, I had a nice colour on the outside, I wouldn't be going for a smooth white on the in.
No.
I'd have a nice proper timber replica window.
I had a guy this evening in the showroom just before I come home. He's building his own house, comes in with plans. He's wanting cream, flush, timber look joints, white wood grain inside.
Yeah, can't blame him. I've just priced this week for 3 prices. What was it? Agate both sides, agate on white, and then agate white foil. And they're going with the white foil on the. Well, you want to go with the white foil on the inside if it's available.
How long are they prepared to wait?
I don't know. It's just one of those. It's the end users are very, very unforgiving in times of ridiculous uncertainty of everything, not just our industry, just in general.
I felt like at the beginning, consumers were fairly forgiving.
Yeah.
I feel like that's turned in the last month or so.
But does that not also coincide with the behaviour that's been going on since the lockdowns are starting to lift, and you see people out and about that are behaving like they did prior to COVID?
Like everything's normal and back to normal.
Yeah, you see violence up in Glasgow the other week after the football. You hear of stories of people. I mean, I can't remember who it was now. I think it was our sales meeting earlier. Someone went out with their friends, and one of their friends saw someone get glassed. And it's just like, are we back to that nonsense then? So last year, when everything was all be kind, that's been forgotten pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, the police were saying crime levels last year were almost flat, weren't they? Because nobody was out circulating, you couldn't do the normal things. It must have been nice to be in police at that point in time. Not much to do other than enforcing the lockdown rules.
Trying to get some patches on your arm.
Say that again.
You'd be bored if you're trying to get some patches on your arm and get some arrests under your belt for a promotion. But other than that, yeah, it would have been proper policing, actually preparing for the inevitable.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think there is a link there to say, people are returning back to normal. So,
but they're returning to normal. They expect us to be back to normal because they don't really know.
But then I think we've got to do a job as an industry, especially at installer level, to say to the customer, be blunt and say, look, this is the situation. Before you even go ahead, just be clear that this won't be quick.
No, it's managing their expectations.
Yeah.
It's managing the expectations and the communication, and not just early communication, but honest communication.
Probably my last 3 conversations this week with customers is, right, we've got a 16-week lead time.
Is that just for your standard windows, by the way? Because I look after a very small proportion of mine at the minute, and there's varying delays to there. Some are booked up till September, some till Christmas, some are still fitting within a month. It's just
No, so in a month, flipping heck.
yeah, some of them are still, fitting in the odd job. If someone wants it quickly and they can get the windows quickly, then they'll do it.
Well, that 16-week wait is our fitting schedules. That's not product coming in. So we are getting product quicker than that.
Yeah.
But at that 16 weeks is just the sheer amount of work we've already got pre-booked. Dual foil stuff's coming in about 12-ish weeks. Standard stuff's about between 6 and 8, which is okay. When you've got 16 weeks, you don't mind 8 weeks, even on normal flat white windows, because
no, you can plan, can't you?
Yeah, you've got plenty of time. Composite doors are we know there's issues in composite door world. Whether it's with slabs, decorative glass seems to be the new problem.
Well, bevels. Yeah, that's what I've had exactly the same conversation this morning in our meeting. It's
toughened glass and decorative glass for composites. That it doesn't seem to exist.
Well, at the minute, our main range doors all come as laminate as standard.
Right.
So again, when float glass is difficult to come by, so is 6.8mm SBD laminate glass. That's increasingly difficult as well.
Well, it weren't so long ago. I published 2 statements from 2 different glass companies warning of the exact same issue around laminates.
Well, it's because there's 2 out of 3 plants down, isn't there? Which is obviously causing, a 2/3 kickback. And when you try and explain that to customers, when you actually go through it with them, they say, "Oh yeah, I can understand that." Because normally there wouldn't be a shortage because the glass companies would build up stocks. But the demand last year, coupled with the pandemic that's gone on anyway, they've just not been able to do that. So everything's being affected.
There was also a plant, was it in Texas, that created resins used in lamination. I think that came back online after the big freeze, and I think a lot of that went to the US automotive sector, which left every other sector gasping for it. So that didn't help
the
either.
PVC layers on the inside.
Yeah. And then, so that's just compounded the issue. But I've been saying to customers, look, we've got this late wait time, okay? I cannot guarantee if I say 16 weeks that there won't be further delays, because there are delays. We've had delayed deliveries. Everyone I'm speaking to is having delayed deliveries, missing items, things just not turning up because they haven't got it.
Handles
again. Glass, different colour profile, decorative glass, you name it. So I am being really, really honest with customers, saying, look, be patient, be prepared to wait. We may give you a fitting date which might need to be moved.
As long as you're upfront and honest with them, if they choose at that point, so okay, you're not for me then, and go with someone else that's going to give them the best scenario and hope for the best, then that's their choice. But again,
I think we're all in the same boat, aren't we? It's not as if you can shop around. Suddenly, it's just everyone's under the same strains.
There is some people performing better than others, man. I will say that I have got stories of people that they are really performing very well in this, and they're doing very well. And I'll take my hat off to them, and I hope they do very well in the future going forward. But they're the smaller fabricators that have done 400 to 600 frames a week, and now they're doing 8 to 9. They were gearing up for that anyway, and they've just managed to fall lucky and do very well from it. And fair play to them,
So do you think it's the bigger ones that have come under the most?
Yeah. The big animals, as we know from last year, the big animals in this industry are really under fire. There's a couple of system houses that, though, are performing exceptionally, and to be fair to them, I wouldn't say that there's anything wrong with them, really, other than the occasional delay. We all knew, dual foils was always a 12-week lead time, so that's not really new. And if they're still doing it in 12 weeks, then again, I take that as a massive positive. But
I know I've heard good things. I think De Koenig are performing quite well. I've not seen many complaints about those guys. They seem to be hitting the mark at the minute. De
Koenig, one of
them, doing all right as well.
With obviously the acquisition of Profile last year, I think they're doing fairly well. And Vika, the other one, the one I hear the most about. I've noticed that they've said that they may be struggling with resins and things going forward. Perhaps they're late to the game because they control a lot of it in this country, but again, they haven't really caused that many problems with late delays.
No, I think with your European-based Cisco's, they're able to lean on European resin manufacturers. So
Yeah.
I think there are issues with companies who are sourcing the resin from the UK. But I think if you're Vika, for example, you can go to Germany as well as the UK, and you can, even if you have to import it at extra cost, you've still got it.
Still to get it easily.
You've still got it. But yeah, I've had some pretty dire warnings on glass this week from 2 different people, and it could be very, very disruptive.
I think that there is going to be a point where we're going to be able to overproduce windows and underproduce glass, and there's just going to be a complete lull in the fabricators world, because there's no point in us making a window if we know we can't get the glass.
No,
that's just uncost effective for a fabricator to have 1,000 or 1,500 windows a week sat there, because the customers aren't going to want to take them. We can't expect them to to affect their cash flow.
No,
it's going to be a tough decision for a lot of people.
But again, like you've just said, if you're making 2,000-3,000 frames a week and you can't get the glass, what's the point in making them? Like you say,
you'll run out of space.
You can't store them.
Well, you run out of profile there. You use profile that is wasted, because the chances of keeping it for a couple of weeks and it getting damaged are pretty high.
Yep.
It's not doesn't look good for us in the next few weeks.
It's such a bizarre situation. We're victims of our own success.
Yeah.
It's
for the first time ever.
I just look
honest success as well, not just not the 80s white gold success.
No, this is consumer driven. This is people wanting to come and buy in high amounts.
Yeah.
But I think what it has done is it's proved that. Look, the other thing to bear in mind is it isn't just this country booming in terms of construction and home improvement. America's the same, Australia's the same, Asia's the same, Europe's the same. There's only so much manufacturers can make, and no manufacturer on earth could have predicted such an enormous pivot to infrastructure and construction and home improvement.
Most companies last year were gearing up for redundancies, and probably, there was a figure turnaround probably last May or June last year, that a few large fabricators have been talking, and they were expecting maybe a third to 3/5 of business picking up. So they were expecting to drop, between 2/3 and 2/5 of business, and where most people are probably, 50% up on, not necessarily what they're actually making, but 50% up on what they're being asked to make. It's bizarre.
I won't say who, but I was speaking to a few people at the heads of their business, and they were making, in the middle of the lockdown, they were making weekly reports on what to expect in Q2, Q3, and it was all like a quarter, a third of what they were expecting.
Yeah.
And I understand that, because none of us knew what we were coming back to. Normally in a crisis, people stop spending, they're very conservative, and they just take it very steady.
Yeah, that hasn't happened.
That has very much not happened, and I don't think.
I could see by your garden, that certainly hasn't happened. Because that's not cost you 25 quid with a boat around the corner, has it? Looks nice, I have to say. It does look nice.
It is. It's really good.
I've got the same problem that you've had, a new build that ours is not quite as new as yours, but after 3 or 4 years, the garden sinks because it's not been laid properly. And I genuinely like the Grand Canyon in my garden in the height of summer. When it's really dried out, I have cracks that are, 3 or 4 foot long and like 3 or 4 inches wide. Huge.
Look, when we moved in, and it was only a couple of months to then when Spencer was born, so we didn't have time or the money to landscape. So we just said, we'll turf it, and then maybe a year or two we'll have it properly landscaped. So to be fair, we've been sat on that particular project for a while, but don't get me wrong, the extra business has helped.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I had to wait 10 months for him.
I really do need to get him on, and we've got a decision to make in the next year, because our mortgage is up for renewal again next year, and it's, do we stay here, take a little bit out, and maybe build myself an office in the garden, and free up the bedroom upstairs, because at the minute my third bedroom is my office and quintessential dressing room with a suits and ties in there. So do we move that into the garden, or I don't know? We'll have to see. But it's a decision to be made, but it's not cheap.
No, but I suppose I've seen a lot turn to the garden offices, and the people I've spoke to love them.
Mm.
It's your own space. It's quiet. If you get internet connected there, it's your own world. Then it's like being at work.
They've been bubbling away in the background, but this last year has really thrown it. I mean, I've got a few friends that had their own business over the years back in Nottinghamshire, and they all had office gardens because they liked the fact that it was away from the home and they weren't getting any kind of aggravation from kids or from family in the house.
Yeah.
But this year, I mean, they were not to the calibre that they are now. They were just literally wooden sheds with a bit of
what you can buy now is it's a room. It's
rooms.
It's insane. How old are your kids now?
6 and 2, last month.
Oh, my 2-year-old's currently refusing to go to bed.
Mine aren't too bad actually. They'll go down. The youngest one will wake up now and again and whatnot, but she won't let me put her to sleep. That's the other half. She just won't. And then the eldest one will go down to sleep and wake up 3 or 4 times in the night.
Oh.
They get back. They actually both slept till 5:15 the other morning, and I couldn't believe it.
That is a night. That is a sleep in for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. They weren't bad at all. Normally they end up in both, in the bed. But I was woken up with an iPad to the side of the head with YouTube. That's one of her favourite words. Is the youngest one. She's not fully talking, but she knows YouTube, and you just get hit with the iPad. YouTube. Go away.
Yeah, we're in the exact same position, Spencer. He likes we put YouTube on the TV for him. He likes to
flick though. That's the thing. She likes to, but she's 2 years old and she knows what to do with the iPad. And she knows how to scroll. At 2 years old, I don't think I was feeding myself. So God knows what these kids are going to be like when they're my age.
It's unnerving, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when I was 2, mobile phones were
bricks. Same for me.
4 foot wide, with a car battery. And they're using iPads to flick through. I mean, it's crazy.
He knows now. So we've got the YouTube Kids apps on both our phones. We don't give him that often because when he's on it, he likes to stay on it. So we don't give it to him that often. But he knows how to navigate. He knows how to bring different screens up. He knows which. I just find it.
There's a couple of good apps from Fisher Price actually, which if you can get downloaded on the iPad, they're quite good little learning app. I don't like them going on YouTube because there's a lot of nonsense on there from across the pond, and I really don't like them watching that.
Yeah, there's a lot of American stuff. We've got the CBeebies app as well. Look at us talking about kids. There'll be people watching going, hey, what? Kev in the comments, mortgages.
They're a big part of our life though, aren't they? That's why we go to work.
Kev, we've got mortgages. We'll catch you up, don't worry. We'll be mortgage free when we catch you up, pal. Don't worry. Paul is having a very large vodka and coke. Good man. Michael Hagan's saying our installation dates have been provisional for over a year now. Yeah. I think that's what you've got to be. Allow flexibility. If you give a hard date and you're just you're setting yourself up for trouble.
Yeah, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Kev's on the homebrew. We're going to get Kev up as a guest. Now people can travel. Well, for how long we can travel is a different matter.
Well, I heard on the news this morning, first thing, that the 21st of June is all but cancelled.
That ain't going to happen now.
I said to you the other week.
You called it. You said it won't happen.
July, it'll be, and lo and behold, 5 weeks after is the 19th, or 4 weeks after is the 19th of July, and the kids are just broken up. So, with the risk of sending the kids to school and picking it up from the school, you're removing that. So they may end up with a, we'll see. The figures are odd.
The increases the last few days have been quite. Bearing in mind we've been at like 2,500 cases a day for quite a while. In the space of a week, we've gone from 2,500 to 4,200 nearly today. So it's it's not a small rise.
Jump.
I guess the key will be in a couple of weeks maybe, is if it results in high if hospitalizations rise again. That'll be the key. If cases happen but people in hospital stays low, then hopefully.
With that many people that haven't had the jab and that haven't had COVID, surely they've got some kind of immunity to it. But
I think they were saying in the vulnerable groups on the radio, I think of the over 60s, I think at least 3/4 have got antibodies.
But they're all, there's over 20 million now, that because 2 weeks ago when I had my jab, it's 2 weeks ago this Sunday, so I'm finally having my first beer for a fortnight. And there was 20 million at that point that had both jabs, and 33 million, I think 33 million more that had one jab. So that's 50 million people. There's only, what is it, 66 in the country, or 64? So there's not many that haven't had anything. And how many of those are kids?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've sounded some concern about, and Nicola Sturgeon was saying that this earlier on today, I think there is the concern that the people who've only had one jab, they're not getting full protection, and I think that they do sound a bit worried that the Indian variant's getting through to people that have only had one, so they are urging people to get fully.
I've noticed that they said the Pfizer one's been passed for 12 to 15-year-olds.
Yes.
And then there's another one, what's the
Johnson & Johnson one.
Yeah, which is a one jab, and that's been passed for UK use, which is, it's, I don't know. We'll see. I'd rather wait another month and
don't risk it.
Be more.
This is my trouble, and to be fair to Boris, no matter what he does, he'll never do the right thing. People wanted dates and a timeline from him, and he gave them one.
And he did say that they were always provisional if the figures and the science.
Yeah, but people will listen to what they want to hear.
Yeah, even though it's in literal black and white in front of them in a report, they'll still only read what they want and miss out the important details.
I can't see 21st of June. They're making too many noises for it to not happen now. So I think that's probably going to be delayed. I don't think we'll go back. Well, I hope we don't go backwards.
I hope we don't go backwards. I mean, I'm seeing my family for the first time next week through circumstances. I've not seen them since March the 15th last year.
Oh, that'd be nice. March the 15th, wow.
Yeah, we saw them literally just before the lockdown, the week before, or the weekend before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've not seen them since then, so that'll be nice. It won't be for long. It'll just be a pop in and out with with a few other things to sort, but it'll be physical rather than. I mean, I don't know what the youngest is going to do because she doesn't realise that these people exist. As far as she's concerned, they live in the iPad. So
it's difficult. I mean, we live on I think Spencer's been alive, and for more than half his life, he's been in a lockdown. It's the youngest kid. I mean, look, we're starting to take him back to stuff now. Classes and just because he was bored out of his brain. I mean, he's housebound, and obviously we're having the garden done. He didn't have that for a period of time, and he's starting to enjoy different experiences again. So for my wife, she's quite cautious. She's not had the vaccine yet. I have. So I think if she thinks things are getting a bit twitchy up here in Wakefield, she'll probably just pull the plug on that and just can that for a while.
Me and my Sophie, we had ours done on the same day within the space of about half an hour because there's only about a year between us, and she got her text before me, even though she's younger. Yeah. And we went and had it done, on a Sunday somewhere. Yeah, and it was.
Kev in the comments, family party / sister's 70th / Christmas on Sunday.
There has been talk of us having a June Christmas. I'm like, we're not the Queen with 2 birthdays.
I won't. Well, listen, I love Christmas, Callum. Any excuse to get my tree back up, I'll be all over it.
That's not a euphemism, eh?
No, past 9 o'clock it will be. There's a pub round here in Pontefract. They made the news. They're holding a Christmas party. Was it last weekend or was it this weekend? I think it might be this weekend. They're having a big Christmas bash. They've decorated the whole pub inside. Trees are up, dedecorations and everything.
We went to the pub earlier actually, but not the pub. They've turned half of the pub where they used to do the carvery. They've turned it into a village like shop and tea rooms. So we went there and had a slice of cake after the elders came in from school.
Was that the first time you went out? For since end
Since
have you been out
last
since?
July. The last time I went out was July last year for my birthday, and we went round there and we went and had a safe drink and a bite to eat. But yeah, we just I don't miss the pub actually. I don't.
I don't.
I quite like sitting at home and drinking and
It's
do that.
me and the surveyor were talking about this. Because he spent a fair bit on his garden. He's put a bar in. He's got gassed up kegs and he's got proper pumps and everything.
Yeah.
And he was saying to me, he says, before I enjoyed going and would make an effort to go. He says, but now I've spent a lot of money. I like my garden. It's a nice place to be, especially if you get the weather. I've got a bar that all my mates want to come to.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered. Yes,
I do miss the social side. I miss the what are you up to? Do you fancy nipping around for a couple? And I did get into the habit for a while of nipping in for a pint of Guinness on the way in from work at 5, and sitting in the pub on the iPad and doing my reports and sending those off because it was easier than coming home and having the kids.
Yeah.
You're trying to get it finished and it's their dinner time and then bath time. I thought, well,
impossible.
Fine, and get it done. But the pub is literally within, I don't know, 5-minute walk from home, so I could do that. But I miss the social side, but not necessarily the pub. And someone was talking earlier, the nights out that are going on now, they will never understand the pain of being 4 deep at the club, waving your £20 note around at the barman. Never. They'll never understand that.
No.
I don't ever see that happening again. Table service is one of the best things that I'm told
love it.
come out.
We went. So I took Soph out a couple of weeks ago for a birthday. That was our first meal out. It was a Thursday afternoon, so it was quiet. We purposely did it on it was her birthday on the Thursday. I said, well, if we do it Thursday, Spencer's at nursery. We've got the afternoon to ourselves, and it'll be quiet, which it was. We managed to sit outside under an awning. The weather were decent. We went to a Green King pub at the end before we went and picked him up. And they said, "Oh, we're doing table service. Have you got the app?" So I downloaded the app. It were great. Order whatever food you want, whatever drink you want. Go straight to your table. Loved it.
2 years ago, when you were doing that in Weatherspoons, it was a bit bizarre. And you're like, "Oh, this will never catch on."
Now everyone's doing it.
Yeah, Weatherspoons literally set the way.
Yeah. Don't know how I feel about that.
We've all become men inside Weatherspoons, haven't we? There's Weatherspoons maketh the man, especially up north.
Well, we've learned better though, haven't we?
Much.
I mean, we were saying this in the office. What you've just said there, I don't think I'll ever want to be standing 4 deep at a bar fighting for a pint.
Is that because of last year though, or is that because we're getting old now?
No, I'm still prepared to go out.
I'd
still go out. I just don't do even though I've been vaccinated, and even do I feel that comfortable being like that? Like you say, waving some money at somebody to try and get their attention to serve a pint. Everyone's sweaty, coughing. Yeah,
overpay for a clearly watered down drink that you're really not going to enjoy. That's probably you're going to spill off of it because on the way back from the bar, you're squeezing through people. It's gone everyone's shoes. And the sticky floor. No, I don't fancy it. I'd rather sit down but I don't know. I'm old before my time. I never really liked going out and doing that. I'd much rather have stayed in the local with a pool cue and play pool and darts all night.
Kev's saying we're just getting old.
I think he's right, really.
Maybe so. But I've got to say, the pubs round Leeds and Wakefield have changed a lot. There's no clubs really anymore. A lot of them have turned into sort of your higher end cocktail bars, craft ale bars.
Yeah.
And obviously pre-COVID, when we used to do the bar crawls in Leeds and stuff, I've got to say there's quite a young age group at these places. And I do feel like I do feel like drinking has changed to some degree. And I think most have probably got. And consider this as well, Callum. If pubs and bars do table service, they can control people better. So rather than letting it literally everybody in, they get better control of what happens indoors.
You can also, although they don't, they can also essentially control what you're drinking. Because if you order something they think you've had too much, they can take a little bit longer to bring it to you, which gives you an opportunity to, maybe wake up a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that's what bars and restaurants are probably going to like. They've got that control. So yeah, I think table service for everyone. Is probably here to stay. So
yeah. It makes it easier if there's 10 of you around a table rather than one person going to the bar 5 and 6 times to bring back 2 drinks at a time. Just let someone else do it on
especially
a tray.
If you're doing rounds and you've got to go back and forth. If you just say, right, I'm going to sit here, just bring them over.
Yeah, it's easy. Come over with a tray and it's done.
Yeah, totally understand. It's fine. You've got some news, but I'm not going to break it until we've had a chat next week, and then
Well, like I say, next week's D-Day.
D-Day sounds good. Are you whatever it is? Are you excited by it?
Yeah, it's a big change, but I'm getting on, and it'll be what it'll be.
Yeah,
I am. I'm genuinely. Yeah, I think you'll be quite shocked when you hear, but it's a bit. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to discuss the ins and outs of everything that's going on with you guys at the minute, because I'll be kind of partially removed from it, but it'll be interesting.
Okay. Well, like I said, when it happens, we'll have a catch up next week, and you can tell me all about it.
I've got plenty of time in the car. Wednesday, Thursday.
All right.
So,
okay. Yeah. Well, let's have a catch up. Shall we check the score? There's a Champions League final on, isn't there? Shall we?
I don't follow football.
Is it? It is today, isn't it? Chelsea and Man City. Let's have a look. Kev saying, "COVID has knocked the sport from you." No, I just like the finer things, Kev. I like to be waited on. Save me legs. Do you know? I think it's. I thought it was tonight. Maybe it's not tonight. Is it? It must be tomorrow then. Let's have a look.
I know that last weekend there was in the Midlands. My dad and brother went to the first Notts match since lockdown. There was 4,000 there last Saturday.
Oh wow!
And there's get this. I think it's at Trent Bridge. It must be, or is it at Edgbaston? It's one of the. I'm sure it's at Trent Bridge. But they've got a cricket game in so many weeks' time with 18,000 visiting as a test. So where they've done these tests at the different, the music football grounds. I think they're doing the same there, where you've probably got to do a quick test yourself, a quick check yourself, and prove your results, and then you'll go in. And Sophie was telling me that out of the events on that weekend, a couple of weekends ago, where there was 60,000 people gathered, obviously not all in one place, but the different events, there was 15 tested positive after that. Yeah, which that's incredible, because you'd expect more than that to test positive for the flu or something after that anyway.
Yeah,
so that's pretty good.
So hopefully the vaccines are really, really working.
I think people are just generally keeping the distance. There's some people that like to get a little bit too close still, no matter where you are. But I think in most cases, I often see it where they come to speak to you, and then you do see them, oh, hold on a minute, and they take that step back. Yeah. You do find yourself stepping that, and keeping that couple of meters just quite naturally. It's almost part of living.
Although, I've got to say, bless them, old people, they don't know what 2 meters is. If I'm seeing a customer, when I go see someone, I'm super careful, mask on, hand gel, COVID forms filled out, try and keep as much distance as I can. And they're coming, wafting over, looking at my notes, talking about, it's like, whoa. They're up there like, yeah, this isn't 2 meters, pal.
No. I'm more. To be honest, I don't like people being within at least 5 meters of me at the best of times. 2 meters, I'll compromise, but if it's legal. But I'm always conscious of when I'm talking to someone, making sure I am. I've been out the last couple of weeks or 3 weeks now, and I've done a couple of visits a week to various people for certain reasons and just general reasons. And I did one yesterday, and we were in their office. It was a huge office. One was in one corner, one was in the other, and I was sat, at the other desk. Obviously, there was times when we were within 2 meters of each other, going through doorways or looking at something, looking at a product they've got in there. But most of the time, this whole rule of within 2 meters, and you don't have to wear a mask unless you're there within, 15 or more minutes. It's easy to keep that 2 meter distance. Yeah. It just is, and it's pretty natural now.
I think so, and hopefully, well, I don't think it's going to be 21st of June. It could be into July or August until we can do this. But I think even if Boris says, everything's over, proceed as normal. I don't think.
Will you? Because I won't. I'll
No.
straight out. I will not be proceeding as normal. I'll still be keeping my distance, and I will probably, even though I was very late to the game with putting a mask on in shops until I was physically told to, and whether that sounds selfish, I just at the time I was like, well, if I don't have to, I won't.
No.
But I think I will probably keep that up. Just
I me and a customer talking about this. I think I would feel uncomfortable, even if government says, look, you don't have to do it anymore. I probably still will, because I mean, look, general hygiene's better for it anyway. But I don't know. I would feel more comfortable wearing one indoors facing a customer than not. Kev in the comments, hand gel is killing my hands. Nixon cuts sting like a bastard. They do.
I can buy some decent hand cream because I have to buy plenty of that because mine are shot. But again, hand sanitizer. Even before this, I carried a half-litre bottle of hand sanitizer in my door card anyway.
See, I didn't bother with that, but now I will. I like, even if
always
he says,
have.
I will now.
I've been driving for what, 15 years. I reckon for probably 13 or 14 years of that, I've always had a bottle, like the pump action hand sanitizer in the door card of my driver's side. Don't know why. It's probably because I've got friends that have got dogs, and when they slobber every, I want some kind of. So I've just done it. It's always come naturally to me. It's just I reckon subconsciously I've been preparing for this for 30 years.
Callum's were COVID ready for decades.
Yeah, don't like people, clean hands. I'm winning.
You're going to say you've been fine. You've been absolutely fine. I think if you look at Asia. And the big cities in Asia, so Japan, cities in Japan, South Korea, China, a lot of their residents wear masks anyway.
Yeah.
I think obviously they've had their own sort of pandemics in the past with bird flu and everything else, but pollution has also been a huge problem.
They've got really strong masks to cut the pollution out, so hygienically.
So they did it for sort of general health reasons as well as sort of pandemic reasons in their region, and it stuck. Obviously we don't have the pollution they've had or have.
I don't know if you probably don't, but you won't drive along the M4 along Wales much, but I was on the M4 yesterday going over to West Wales, and they've cut the motorway. I'm trying to think now where it starts. It starts before Cardiff. 50. And it's not just 50 because with the above like the contraflow, it's a genuine 50, and it's like this is the speed limit, and that it's not going anywhere, it's not changing, and it says it says now higher speeds cause more pollution, slow down, and they around Cardiff. I mean, ironic that they do it around Swansea as well. When you're driving past Tata Steel, who's pumping out smog, but it's they genuinely quote. Cleaner air for lower speeds.
I've been to Sheffield today on an appointment, and not 50, but they cut us down to 60, and it said basically the same thing, lower speeds for reduce air. What was it? Lower speeds. It was to do with air quality anyway, but that was the reason that it was a good probably 7-8 mile stretch. Where
this from Cardiff, because there's about 3 junctions for Cardiff, so it's probably about 5 or 10 miles, between 5 and 10 miles. So maybe about the same. Yeah. But the great thing is when you're doing that, you're travelling at 50. Watch your fuel per gallon. Your MPG just go up and up and up. I like to play a game with that. I'm not too tired, but I like to see it go above 60 every now and again. For an average, that's a good drive. Boring as well.
I think we're all going to be doing it. I think we're all going to be doing it, and I think in the future, I mean. Leeds is being there's a I don't know if you listen to 5 Live on the radio, but Leeds is in the spotlight this year on the BBC because they're doing quite a lot of initiatives to the city that wants to be carbon neutral by 2030. So they're doing a lot of work with congestion and fuel, but they're also pedestrianising a lot of the city centres.
They pedestrianised a lot of Bristol recently.
Is that what they've done in Bristol?
Yeah, they've taken a lot. It's been 20 mile an hour inside a particular postcode in Bristol for
And have they
years.
pedestrianised a lot of it as well?
Yeah, and they've rejigged a lot of like the roads that you can't go down unless you're a taxi or a bus. So
Right.
although it's not completely pedestrianised, they have done it for for normal vehicles, and they've also changed. There's a lot of roundabouts around the city centre. So where you went around like a quintessential ring road, there was a lot of roundabouts. So they've cut them out now, and then they've spaced the roads out. So the city centre is actually I don't know 20, 30 foot bigger because they've moved the roads to move the boundaries. But yeah, it's been 20 around there for years, and they have actually. There's, I think, is it Bath? Bath has put a congestion charge in now as well for the same reason.
Yes, I think you're right, and hasn't Birmingham as well?
Birmingham was on about putting one in, yeah. But again,
yes, Birmingham's coming in June the 1st. I'm pretty sure of it.
well, that's. I mean, I'll ask my brother because he lives in Birmingham, but he doesn't drive at the minute. But that's. Is it a bad thing? Because most of our cars that we drive anyway are all, I wouldn't say overly economic, but they are better than they used to be. And I think it's, yeah, air pollution is something that we've got to look at. Last year really helped. And I just fear that we're going to undo some of the work that was done last year.
It won't bother me. I suppose it depends where you live. I'm very close to the city centre. So this new development we're living at the minute must be a 20-minute walk to the centre of town where the train station is. So
yeah,
we'd probably never get a taxi so long as it's not absolutely chucking it down. We'd probably just decide to walk, probably stop off at a pub on the way. So if we decide to go to Leeds for the afternoon, we'd probably set off at 11, get an early pint somewhere on the way down, grab a train at 12, do what we do, come back, repeat the journey back. And we've not stepped in a car once.
Yeah.
So I suppose it depends where you live. If you live close by and you can access things like public transport, you're going to be all right. If you live 5-10 miles out of the city centre, then you're going to need cars.
I think the congestion charge is a problem where you live, like say, that far out, or you live further out like me. I live, 45 minutes outside Bristol, right by the sea. If I need to go for anything decent clothes-wise,
is that your nearest sort of major city centre then?
We've got a town centre in Weston, but it's dying. But we've got Bristol. But I mean, aside, we could go up to Cribbs Causeway, which isn't bad. That's okay for clothing. But if you want, reasonable, cheap clothing for kids, like Primark and places like that, you've got to go to Bristol.
Right.
I reckon that there will be an issue with that because people won't travel for it. Because they're not going to pay a congestion charge as well as pay for parking.
No,
that's excessive.
Not and then travel 45 minutes as well.
No, those cheap T-shirts suddenly become a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And it's you may think about it. The places locally like Matalan or the other moderately priced places may end up picking up the slack.
It's something. Leon Day's here. Good evening, Leon. Congratulations on your brand ambassadorship with Roseview, and good luck getting back into your motorbiking. Good luck, pal. This will affect our industry. I was speaking to one of our suppliers a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling us, obviously, if you're going to make deliveries, if a window company is based in a town centre or a city centre with a congestion charge,
that's got to be factored in.
That's a cost on the manufacturer.
You're just having your discounts drop by 5%.
Yeah, so it's going to affect us as well because deliveries are going to have to be made in these areas.
I mean, London's already affected. You sometimes, in some places in London, you've got to be in and out by 9 o'clock. If you're not, then you get fined. Well, not necessarily fined, but you get hit with a massive congestion charge because of the difference.
You couldn't pay me to drive in London. It just looks. I
don't like driving in a car in London, let alone a great big, 17.5 ton or 80. I don't fancy that.
No, can you imagine?
No, it's bad enough in a car.
No, it's not for me. So Leon's here. Paul Roberts. I've never been normal, so I don't think I'll start trying now.
I can feel that.
He's a good lad, is Paul. I like Paul. We spoke quite a lot on social media, in general. But I met him for the first time a few weeks ago when we went to see him at Festa at his showroom, and then he came to see us at work. But he's a sound guy, is Paul. But yeah,
They honest chosen the wrong time to get back into biking though, because the weather's horrible.
Well, not for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It looks pretty sunny, warm, dry.
I got mine MOT'd a couple of weeks or 3 weeks ago when I was on holiday, and yeah, I got out on it once. Excuse me. So I had a couple of hours around the Somerset levels and around Cheddar Gorge on the bike, and then yeah, came home.
Oh, that's
First time I've been out for a long time.
I'm not into my bikes. I can watch it. I wouldn't ride it.
I'm glad I do it now, not when I was 18, because I've got a lot more road sense, and I'm a lot more cautious on the roads than I used to be.
Yeah,
we all used to
be. I mean, I think that goes for everything, though, doesn't it? I mean, cars as well. I mean, when you learn to drive, you learn it to pass a test.
Yeah.
You're not learning to drive. Not the rules of the road as such.
No. My grandmother said that, and you're learning to pass the minimum credentials, and then you hone your driving. Driving's not difficult; it's the awareness that's difficult.
Yes, 100%.
And that was noticed last year. So I had about 4 months off the road where I literally wasn't travelling at all. I was going 2 miles to the shop and back, and the first journey I made, I couldn't believe how much my awareness was affected. I genuinely noticed it. Like, okay, the veering out of lanes ever so slightly was immediately noticeable.
Oh, Kev, no. He's just said the family party sister's 70th / Christmas postponed. 2 grandkids now have to self-isolate.
Oh dear.
Flipping heck. Oh, Kev, sorry, pal.
That's changed very quickly.
I'm going to say, schools.
Yeah. I had my first cold that lasted longer than a day, the day before I had my jab.
Did it knock you out? Spencer came back with a cold from nursery. And
not too bad. I mean, I had it for a good week.
It lingered for 2 weeks.
Yeah, about that. And I've had a lot over the last year where it's been like a bit of a tickle in the throat or a snotty nose or whatever, gross as it sounds, and it went within a couple of days or a day. Yeah. Whereas this one's the first one that I've had that stayed that little bit longer. That was a proper illness, let's say, that did have me reaching for the paracetamol and a flu relief.
I think this is what we're going to have now, is because obviously we've all been very separated for quite a long time. Once people are circulating again, we're going to start picking up these. I think colds are probably going to knock us for 6 for quite a long time, because obviously
I actually had to ring, I don't know what is it, the 119 or whatever it is, the COVID support line or whatever, just to ask if having a cold affects the home tests.
Yeah.
Because we're taking those twice weekly now.
Oh, okay.
Once before I go out to work. So if I go out to work on like a Tuesday and a Thursday, I'll take one on a Monday night, and that coincides well with the other half working on the weekend, and then we'll take one before she goes to work on a weekend or on a Saturday night when she's back, just to make sure. And even with a cold, I managed to take 3 tests with a cold, and all came back as negative. So it doesn't affect it.
Well, that's good.
So at least they know they're working. I think that's one thing that we've got to get used to as well as a society. Is I was a bit wary. I've waited as long as possible, but just swab your throat, swab your nose, and get on with it.
I think healthcare is going to be much more, especially with tech and data so embedded in society now. I think,
I think we'll be more conscious.
Yeah. There'll be hand sanitizer everywhere you go. Testing will become normal. There'll be a pre-pandemic world and a post-pandemic world where subtle, there are subtle changes to life. Like I said, testing will be normal. It'd be required by work, I'm sure, in a lot of places, just to be.
And even if it's not, do you not think you've got a responsibility as a decent person to just be sure?
Do. Yeah. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. If I need to be tested, I need to be tested. I certainly don't want to pass anything on to anybody that could be harmful.
No, it's just for peace of mind and just to know for that exact reason. It's
because remember, you're not doing it just for you. You're doing it for other people. That's the point.
Yeah, again, going back to the mask thing in shops, I'll probably do it for the opposite reason, for myself, because I think there'll be a lot of people that won't. So then I'm looking out for myself. But the test that I'm taking, where I want to go out and visit people for work or for social, I'm doing my bit to make sure they're okay.
Don't get me wrong, I've not missed customers' coffee breath. I don't smell it. If I've got a mask on, I can't smell it. So they can't be up close to me. You don't get the bad breath in your face. I don't miss that at all.
There's one thing I learned very early on is I'll always have a coffee in the car, but I've also got you got one of those clipping chewing gum holders, and I've always got a pot of chewing gum in me, smack in front of me. And the first thing I do when I finish my coffee is one of them in, because I don't want to be that person that you're complaining about. That's just not that's not my life.
No. There's no word. Coffee breath is bad. Coffee breath is bad.
Coffee breath's bad enough.
Going back to biking from it, Leon Day.
I'm gonna grab a beer. Hold on.
Yeah, no worries. Leon says he's had 4 broken ribs so far. Is that in total, or just since you've been back riding, Leon? I hope that's all together, because that's a lot. Overwhelmed with the kind words and glad to... Leon, you were a well-liked and still are well-liked member of the industry, pal, so any time you were going to come back, you were always going to be welcome back. Kev, pies will still be vastly overconsumed. Yes, pies will always be... yeah. It's a pie though, Kev. Everybody likes pies.
We don't do them down here. We don't have pies down south. It's all pasties.
Yeah, you've got all fancy, haven't you? You've ditched. Yeah.
Although my kids are born down here, they do like gravy with a lot of things, except the eldest one. The eldest one hates gravy, but the youngest one.
Yeah. I can get on board with that.
We need to get back to the north quick enough, because we can't have them not liking gravy. And I'm peaking early with a double IPA. Yeah.
What's that? Let's have a look at the can, Cal.
It's a little special.
Deeper. Very good.
It's by 71 Brewing Co. New England Deeper. And it's
fair enough. Wow, so Leon Day has broken 4 ribs since he's come back riding already.
What's he done? I've not broken one, but I've never come off. But I suppose if he's talking that, is he doing proper track riding?
Yeah, he's racing, yeah.
Okay.
And the weather's been piss poor. So it's been wet permanently for weeks. So yeah. I imagine coming off, Leon, no gravy down south. No.
Yeah.
It's like that Peter Kay sketch when he goes to try and buy fish and chips down south when they don't do gravy.
Well, I'll never have gravy on fish and chips. I might be from the north, but I'm not. No, I'm not a heathen.
No. See, so my wife likes fish and chips with gravy. I'm like, what? Salt and vinegar and tomato ketchup.
Fish, chips, mushy peas.
No.
Salt and vinegar, curry sauce and loads of ketchup.
No. Oh, Callum, no. Salt and vinegar and ketchup. That's all you need.
For my induction to the sales side of this industry, I think I had on average fish and chips. Out of the 4 nights that I was working away, I had them at least 3 nights or 3 days. That wasn't actually through choice. It was because my induction that the person that I was taking over from was of an age where they just loved fish and chips.
Fair enough.
In all honesty, I don't think I had them for about 2 years after that, because I'd had my fill. But if you're ever down in Paignton, there's a cracking fish and chip shop down there. I forget the name of it, but it's on, like, if you're looking at there's a cinema on the front,
right,
and you walk directly away from there, and it's on the right hand side, and they do something like double or triple cooked chips in goose fat.
Ooh.
And I don't just mean, I mean properly fried in the deep fat fry in goose fat. The chips come out almost orange or yellow, but they are incredible. They are incredible.
Do you know, this isn't going to be a late one, and I've not had tea yet, so I might order something when we finish, because you've got me right in mood for fish and chips now.
No gravy.
No gravy.
Quite like gravy with fish.
Kev in the North Midlands, maybe. Kev, nephew high-sided again, racing 600s, smashed his shoulder. You see, look, yeah, this is why I do think they are dangerous, but not because of you, because of other people,
especially on the roads.
Yeah.
But there is no feeling like opening the throttle on a dry day with the sun in front of you, or behind you. In front of you is dangerous, but with the sun behind you and just feeling that, especially if you're feeling that wind underneath your helmet, and you're like, yeah, this is good. I'd
like to try. I suppose I'd like to try it on a track. If it was completely safe, and if I skidded and fell off, it wouldn't matter, because I won't be crashing into anything. I might maybe like to try it on a track. But yeah, it makes me cringe thinking about the accidents and.
I was into bikes from like 13, 14, but my parents was a no-go. So when I moved away and sold my car, I bought a motorbike, much to my mum's disgust, and she's never forgiven me.
What did she say to you?
I can't say. Is it 9 o'clock yet?
It's 9:15.
You knobhead, basically. She's not impressed, no. But yeah, they're from that age where my dad at 16, he had a bike, and they all did because that's all that was around in those days.
Yeah.
But no, mine's. I'm glad I waited till my mid-20s and got my test done, and I can actually enjoy it now. And the kids love it, even though they're very young. They like to go out when I'm giving it a clean, and they like to sit on it and rev it a bit. And
because they're impressive machines, Callum. Whether you like them or not, you can't deny. I mean, I even if I see, don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge bike fan, but I can appreciate an impeccable machine when I see it, and some of them are so impressive when you see them. They're just works of art a lot of the time.
Italian models are the ones I love, but I don't know whether I'll ever have one. They're a bit about my skill set.
I can appreciate them all day long. But yeah, Gus, is he okay, Kev? In his shoulder now, is he? Is everything all right? Hold on, I've just got a message. What's the crack here? Oh, hold on. Oh no. Oh, I can't show. Leon, are you in hospital now? Or were these pictures taken? These must have been taken when you were in hospital. Oh.
There's some bruised ribs.
He's having fluid drained. Last week. Jesus. Oh, Leon, I hope you. That looks rough. Hold on. No, I won't. No, he sent them to me privately. I won't show him. But yeah, I hope you're all right, Leon, because that's. Oh.
Hobbies anyway, then, Jason. What's your go-to in your free time?
Other than drinking.
That's not a hobby, is it? That's just a staple of being from the north.
Yeah.
As well as swearing.
Do you know what? In the summer, it's cooking. I like barbecuing. Don't get me. I can cook, and I like cooking indoors. But when there's something about barbecuing for me.
The man's thing into barbecuing.
It is, but I'm learning how to do stuff as well all the time. Different things on the grill. I got right into it last year. Obviously, with lockdown, we had the good weather, and obviously we were eating outdoors most of the time. I don't know. I don't know. I find it quite soothing to some degree, but I like experimenting with stuff, trying different things, different ingredients, different seasonings. Yeah, so I quite like barbecuing. And writing. DGB started as a hobby. I never meant for that to be what it is now. It just kind of snowballed into something way bigger than I thought it would. And films as well. So me and Soph are both quite into our Marvel, Marvel film stuff. So yeah. So
my eldest loves the superhero stuff, but I've never been a massive fan until I started watching it with her. And I've never been I've never watched any Spider-Man films until she decided she wanted to watch them out of nowhere.
Are you into it as much as she is now?
I wouldn't say as much, but I mean, I'm a similar issue a little bit. But I used to like the old the reruns of Batman and the reruns of the original Superman and things like that. I used to like watching those on TV at 5 at night. But the new ones, the Incredible Hulk when that was out, but then the new ones all took over, and I never really got into it. I was more, James Bond was my go-to film.
James Bond film.
I've still somewhere. They're all locked away now in a loft somewhere. But I've got all of the videos up to the early 2000s. Basically, I think the last one I've got is like a Pierce Brosnan on VHS. All of them, and when you put them all together, they've got the picture on the back of them. Like the Mr. Men books where they make like the spines make
yeah, I've got that. Yeah.
Bond films are like that if you've got them on VHS.
That's awesome.
I've got all of those locked away. They probably don't even work now, but that was my go-to film.
There's something about I mean, I've always liked Marvel anyway, and obviously as the films came out, we've watched religiously, and we can watch them over and over again. But yeah, obviously we've got Disney Plus as well, so we've watched all the recent Marvel TV stuff. We just love it. We love it to bits, and just the writing's the storytelling's great. And I know Spencer will love it when he grows up as well. But it's just something with Marvel just clicks with me. I absolutely love it. I've even got Thanos' glove as a bottle opener.
Nice. Does it light up? Is that a button on the side?
No. No. It's just all metal. They're the gems. Look. Hold on. Sorry, we've got comments. So we've got Leon Day, barbecue at Jason's.
Oh, you've got the right idea.
Mate, honestly, if Leon, I'll message when this is done. I'll message you. I'm doing something tomorrow. If you can make it, because I think Leon's still in Barnsley, so he's not that far from me. Leon, if you're free tomorrow night, pal, for a drink, you're not far from me. Just hit me up. Adverto Media. So this will be Nick Caddy, I think. Liked the article about how you got into the industry you wrote this week. Oh, thank you, buddy. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, Callum. I wrote a piece explaining how I ended up in the industry, because I always get this comment.
Just fall into it, don't you?
Yes. Nobody ever means to be in this industry. And I don't know why.
Because, we had it the other week, because there's no one talking about it. When you talk about the unforgiving end consumer, in fenestration that we all work in, they're very unforgiving and, they're a nightmare. But building works, who are, you got your CITB, is it, and then your plumbers who have got Corgi. If there's any kind of delays on product, i.e. because a plumber can't get copper piping, there's no complaint. So, okay, then copper's short. You just accept it. But if we say plastic's short, no, it's not. What do you mean, no, it's not? Why are they? But again, does that not fall back to because no one knows anything about the industry unless you're inside it? It's very badly publicised in twofold. It's badly publicised that we get a bad reputation, we have a bad reputation, but also the right reputation isn't published to the general.
We do a very good job at talking to ourselves. I think obviously there's a lot of for an industry that's worth only 5 billion, and don't get me wrong, that's a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not huge either. There's a lot of media for what is a small sector. None of that media points to the public.
No.
None of it.
But you say 5 billion and it's a small sector.
In the grand scheme of the UK economy, but
let's look at the last year. I take it you're talking annually there at 5 billion.
Yeah.
That's contributed excessively to the economy in the past 12 months because there's a lot of other areas that aren't even working.
Correct.
And I do say, whether it sounds like a martyr or not, I think we have a responsibility to, central government and other people, our peers in the community. If we can earn money and pay taxes, it's our duty to do that, to help the people that can't. The pubs that can't open, or the arts. You may not be a fan of the arts, but everyone inadvertently listens to music. They can't perform and do things live where they make some of their money because of this. It's our duty to work that a little bit harder, perhaps, and produce the tax for that, because it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, like you say, I don't suppose there's ever a way to. I don't suppose we'll ever figure this out. What we've contributed to the economy, like in the last year, like you say, versus the other sectors that have been closed. And I'd probably say, that figure of 5 billion, I suppose, was based on pre-pandemic levels. We've hovered between 4 and 5 for quite a while. We've got to be worth more than that now, I reckon. With the amount, there's been a lot of growth. There's companies that were medium that are probably now classed as large because of all this extra business. But yeah, I wrote that article because I wanted to sort of highlight the way people sort of fall into it. It's mostly by chance and because they know people. But I won't say too much at this point because it's in construction. I'm building a consumer section to my site at the minute because I've noticed I'm getting a slowly growing portion of traffic is coming from that section. I'm thinking
you can bridge that gap between us and consumers as an independent, because although you run your own business, you're running that in the correct way, in that you're.
I don't use it. I don't link the two. I keep them separate.
No, but the thing is, you're running your business in a manner that you're being honest and upfront with your customers, so they appreciate that and they deal with you. If you can bridge that gap for the other suppliers that, or the other installers that maybe attempt that and aren't successful for whatever reason, because it's not easy to be that brash with your customers. Oh, you've been waiting 12 weeks. That's what it is. It's a difficult conversation.
Oh yeah.
So if you can bridge that gap and get consumers understanding, you will help that 5 billion grow without doubt.
Well, what I've done is, it's not live on the site, but I've written an article when that section goes live, where it explains quite bluntly what the situation in the industry is right now. So it explains what's happened before, what's happening now, why it's happening, what to expect, and what to do as a consumer if you are wanting to get your project underway. And to be honest, I've said speed is your friend, be decisive. If you want things done by a certain time, don't sit on your hands and ponder forever. Be flexible, and understand that there is also high price inflation right now. Prices keep going up, so the sooner you can be decisive, the better it is for your pocket. But no one's saying that in public.
No. The thing with being decisive as well is it's not just be decisive on the time. If you decide on someone that you want to do the job for you, be prepared to wait, because there's no fitters at the minute out of work.
Nope.
There's window fitters mates that are out of work that want to try and fit windows, and anyone the post that you put up the other week about 1,100 vacancies, that is unreal. There's 1,100 jobs there that could be contributing to our industry and the economy, and helping us as an industry keep the consumer happier, because we can do things quicker.
Can you imagine though? Our industry is crumbling. It's crippled by demand. Yet we've got 1,100 vacancies we can't fill. It's insane. And I know Building Our Skills have been trying to get, I think this is a good idea, ex-military personnel into it as well, which I think is a cracking idea.
In the industry already. I mean, I know I know one of the most successful businessmen that I've dealt with is an ex-Marine. Him and his business partner, he moved away a long time ago now. He moved over to Australia, but his business partner was construction, and they run a business properly. But he was an ex-Marine. And I'll tell you what as well, the one thing about getting ex-military into the industry, whatever industry it is, whether it be ours or anything, they bring contacts. The amount of military bases around the country that will use one of their own because of that contact, that's good for business, that's good for the industry that you're working in. If we can attract them instead of plumbing industries or whoever else, that's going to benefit.
Oh, yeah.
And people in the military they like things done properly, and they like them done in a timely fashion. That's just what they're a product.
There's nothing wrong with dealing with someone who's organised either. That helps you to some degree.
But as well as they can see through, and this is the problem, there's a lot of it in this industry, they can see through the bull. So if you're honest with them, they know you're being honest with them. If you're being dishonest, that's
where a lot of this industry will fall down, though. They're not honest, though, are they, Callum? A lot of this, me and you both know it. And Kev's saying there in comments, you can only be honest on your own because we're on his own. We're a small business. Loads of industry sales are just awful and talk crap.
They are. And
he's not wrong.
I don't know. I came into this at 23, 24 sales, about that it was 24, 8 years, eight and a half years ago. So what's that, 30? Yeah, 24. And I made a conscious decision because I don't like bull anyway. It's not for me because I don't like it. If I wouldn't accept it, why would I give it? Why would I? And I've made a conscious effort throughout my entire career so far to be the person that gives you the answer. Might not be the one that you want to hear.
No.
But it's the honest one and it's the truthful one.
But that way you then avoid future problems because you always get caught out. If you're lying or you're spinning something that you know not right, it will come back to bite you on the arse. It will.
You may annoy people and they may not, no, that's not good enough. Well, it doesn't matter but it's true.
Yeah, you've got to have that honest conversation.
2 or 3 times, they accept it, they get on with it because they appreciate it.
They do. And it also helps you keep control of the situation as well. You keep things as it should be. I had a conversation with a customer today. They said, builder says if you measure it to a height, I'll make it to that height and it'll be fine. I'm like, no. With all due respect, the amount of times I've been on site and you give us plans for one size and the builder's made it to something other. No. I'll quote you now, but the surveyor will only come out once the opening's formed properly and then we'll measure it to order.
Yeah.
But she didn't like it so much, but she understood why I was saying it, and in the end came round to the idea. But you've got to have those honest conversations from the start.
The only way you could ever do that is if you give your bricky cavity closers or formers. Because
it weren't our bricky, it was her bricky. So
I mean, we as an industry work to a minimum of 10 mil on tolerance of the brickwork anyway, don't we? So
and 6 mil on composite doors.
6 mil.
Just on the slab.
Well, honestly, at the minute, we genuinely worked on the outside.
That's a tongue in cheek. That'll come back to bite me. I didn't. That's just a joke.
No, honestly, I'm not even joking. We work at the minute to a 1 mil tolerance on width.
Really? That's good.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
If it's wrong, it's wrong. I mean, 1 mil's, but 1 mil's 1 mil. I think we worked to
composite door. These small 1 mil, they make a difference. Really
I went to a site visit the other day and he was saying, "Oh, this door's all over the place," and it was basically the slab was wonky. It wasn't even one of our doors. It was one that I was trying to get in with a local developer for the supply of windows. And I said, "Yeah, but can you not get the fitter back because that door's on the wall? So you just need that bottom hinge kicked that way, the top one kicked that way, and everything will fit perfectly." He says, "Yeah, he's tried and he can't do it." Like, well, I think you need to find a new fitter then, not a new supplier of windows. It's not the window. I actually came away and spoke to because I was there with a a trade counter rep, and I spoke to him afterwards. I said, "Look, don't get me wrong. I said I think our windows would be a great asset to his 60 properties that he's building, but if you're going to give it to the same fitter, they're a waste of time. He's going to pay more for his windows, and they're not going to fit any better, all the doors, because." Look at that. It's not the door that's the problem, actually. I'm not going to pick fault with someone's product if it's not the product.
I'll come back to that because I've got a point to make. We've had quite a lot of comments. So Nick Caddy at Adverto Media. He started working at Caddy Windows during school.
Who's that?
Holidays as a kid. 15 years later. Oh, okay, so there's 2 comments. So, started working at Caddy Windows during school holidays as a kid, and 15 years later, still here. See, when you're in, you can't get out.
Is that Caddy in Bristol?
I think so.
Yeah.
Nick, if you're in the comments, let me know. Leon saying, our industry should focus on improving our public perception. This is all our responsibility.
Completely.
I could talk all night about this because I care. Well, Leon, tell you what, the next stream, you will come on as a guest, and we can have a good old chinwag about that, pal.
Exactly.
Kev, 5 billion just replacement total fenestration. I think, Kev, that is replacement as far as I am aware. Leon again, we all make excuses, it's got to stop. We can change it and need to. I was involved in the car sector and it did this. Okay, change the perception, okay. Yes, Nick, it is in...
No, yeah.
Okay, so...
And then when the Brisbane, yeah.
Going back to the composite doors, look, they're getting a lot of slating at the minute on various forums and sites. And
which is unusual because they're not available, so I don't understand that. How can you slate something that's not available?
I'm going to say that they don't exist, so how can you complain about them? look, fitters are going to kill me for this. Whilst I am sure there are some problems with some composite doors, I am also quite sure there are some people not fitting them correctly. With all due respect,
I'm interested to sit back and hear what you've got to say on this, because I've had various conversations about this, and yeah.
Callum, we fit a fair amount of composite doors. We don't get that many problems. We genuinely don't.
What do you do
that's
to your
not
lock
to
side?
say. Sorry, go on.
What do you do to your lock side? This is for everyone to see. How do you fit your lock side?
How do I? Sorry, say that.
You know your lock side. Your lock. You've obviously got your hinge side that you'll fit plumb and level. What do you do with your lock side of your composite door?
You'd have to ask the fitter. To be honest, I'm not 100% on the fitting knowledge, so I'm not gonna fake my way through an answer. But
we've had guidance over the years of how to and what to do, which has been completely rebuffed by installers.
Right.
And I spoke to a master fitter I didn't disbelieve what I was being told, but I wanted an unbiased, information. And I spoke to a master fitter, and he gave me exactly the same information that we were being given from the top of the composite door companies and filtered down. Yet that still doesn't seem to be adhered to by, fitters who have been fitting doors for 20, 30 years, because it's not what they're used to.
If anyone who's watching in the comments who's fitting, and probably Kev would be a good guy to ask. I don't know how many composite doors you fit, Kev, but do you have any issues with them fitting? Because I don't know. We fit a decent amount. So I reckon half the doors we fit are composites, half are what we call our PVC engineered stuff, where it's midrails and mullions. We genuinely don't get that. I mean, we have good fitters. We think highly of our fitting crew. We always get good comments from their workmanship. And they know what they're doing. Now, I'm not dismissing the idea that there are problems. I'm sure there are some problems, but there is problems with every product. No product has 100% success rate. But I do wonder the amount of complaints. It does lead me to question if some of them are not being fitted correctly. And I know fitters are going to kill me for even hypothesizing that idea. But I am sure some of them are because of some of the issues.
Blog on the abuse that you get following this.
If it ends up on forums, I'm a dead man.
And it's not to say though. I will say that it's not trying to back up, but it's not to say that it's a bad installation or it's a bad fit, but there's a slightly different way of doing it, and it's not necessarily to say that what they're doing is wrong, but if you do something a slightly different way to the way that they've always done it, it can remove future problems. Doesn't mean that either way is right nor wrong, but it just means that you're going to remove the chance of a future issue for you.
Because you've got to remember,
logic tells you're always going to do what you can to remove.
You're right. Look, think about composites are usually single rebate, flush fitting on the inside. They're not a double overlapped rebated PVC door.
You've got less anything that's out, like that. But the thing is, well, we're working with PVC, GRP that's pre-manufactured to 90-degree angles, right? If you're looking back at what a composite door is, and I say this with the greatest of, a composite door is sold in our industry, and other people may disagree or not, but it's sold in our industry as, you can have a PVC door for 700 quid, or you can have a composite door for 1,200 quid. What do you want? Well, in actual fact, forget the PVC door. You can have a hardwood door for £3,000, or you can have a composite door for 1,500. Composite door is not an upgrade of a PVC door. It's just not. It's a more moderately priced and a door that requires less work over the years.
It's a more affordable hardwood door.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to apply the same mentality to how you would fit a hardwood door. But the difference is, a hardwood door, if you've got something that's an 89-degree angle instead of a 90, what would you do? You take the slab off, you're playing it to the shape, so you've got the pound coin effect all the way around. You can't do that with PVC and GRP. It just doesn't work.
No.
So you've got to work to, to a different way of, or a different mentality of fitting.
Nick Truman's in the comments. Good evening, Nick. A reoccurring problem I've seen is fitters wrongly adjusting keeps top and bottom, allowing the slab to move more than it should. Fair enough.
Because people don't like the hard throw of a handle. They don't.
No.
They want it to be smooth, not anything too tight.
But you've got to throw it up. Kev says some doors have real epoxy hinges that can't take the adjustment needed from poor manufacturer. We use the SFS hinges.
Face fixed ones.
Yeah, they're quite good. Our fitters like them.
I think we use some of those on some of our doors at the minute, but the other ones we use are in-house ones, and I'm told that each hinge of the butt hinge that we use, which is a sister company of where I am, they can hold 45 kilos per hinge.
Per hinge.
And you've got 3 per door. And once you've cracked the adjustment on the hinges, don't get me wrong, I will admit that they aren't easy to adjust or to get used to adjusting. But once you've cracked the adjustment on these butt hinges, they are brilliant. And yeah, the weight that they can hold, you've essentially got like 130 kilo, 135 kilos worth, and there's no door that weighs that much.
No. Kev saying, I always plumb and set the hinge jamb, then line up the lock jamb and pack to suit, allowing the clearance to set the hinges. Makes sense?
Yep.
Makes sense.
By the master fitter, I was told, fit the hinge side, chuck your level. Forget it. Just fit the lock side as
fair enough.
Be fit.
My front door has solid hinges, no adjustment, no problem in 17 years. Is that a composite door, Kev, or is that a PVC door? Just be interested to know. Michael Hagan, the best composite door was the Bowater double rebate. That was a good door. I sold them back. That was one of the first composites I sold, but way back.
And they did the extras of that. They did the Bowater double rebate, and they did the Bowater flood defence door.
Flood defence. That was the other one. You're right.
They were expensive, but we supplied about 5 down south, right on the coast in St Austell, and he said that the planes have been flooded down there, and there's not an ounce of water got through. Wow. They were good doors. Really were.
Do you remember a few years ago there was an issue over flood doors? Do you remember? And they weren't working. They were badly fitted, and are still being.
The person that's fitted these, he's a small business for his own account that spends 400 grand a year or 300 grand a year with a supplier. So that's not a small business. I keep telling him that, but he won't listen. He's modest.
Kev's got it's a composite door. So it's a 17-year-old composite door in good working condition. Might be the only one.
The composite door I had in my house was absolutely shocking when I moved in. This was built in 2002, and it was a laminated wooden frame, and I don't even know what the slab was, but it was just like paper.
Yeah, you should see the crap I've got on here. I cannot wait to get, honestly, just garbage. I've got PVC French doors and side lights. I've got some Decalu alley bifolds going in. There'll be a case study on that when they go in. Morley glass blinds going in. They're going to look fantastic. This is the thing that frustrates me about new builds. The utter crap they put in. The absolute worst of the bottom of the pile.
It's all down to price.
I know, but look, right. I won't ask how much it costs.
Let's go from building, because you said it the other week about would you buy a house if they said they'd got X, Y, and Z windows in? You might, because you're in the industry, but the general public wouldn't. But let's take it outside our industry. Would you go and buy a brand new car just because they had the Bridgestone Potenzas on? No, you wouldn't.
No.
So it's the same as that. So, I wouldn't. And don't get me wrong, the Bridgestone Potenzas.
No, but that's where I think we need to be hitting public perception more, because I think if the public knew about our industry more, and windows became a more recognised, because I'll tell you what. So where I live, it's a development called City Fields in Wakefield. There's about 3,000 homes being built across 5 years of development. It's a huge area. I'm at one end. At the other end, they've fitted some antique wood grain flush windows on these houses. I mean, that's pretty upmarket for a new built house.
Definitely.
They look fantastic.
But what is the point in putting a very nice window in a house that's been thrown up by people that don't know what they're doing?
Funnily enough, so the builder I wouldn't consider as good as the builder of the house I'm in, but they've put better windows in than the better builder of my house has put in.
Yeah, but what compromise? You're looking at value there. They've got better windows, but the build quality is not good. You've got good build quality, but you've got rubbish windows, which doesn't bother you because you can get some decent ones.
I like their windows more than their house, but I like my house more than I like my windows.
Your problem now is the fact that you can get nice new windows, but they're just hollow because you can't get glass for them.
I'm knackered either way. I'm not going to get what I want. So but no, these composite doors are just shite.
You talk about the new build quality, and it's not just the quality of the build; it's the quality of the workmanship. We bought our house from the first person who lived here, so he'd had it for so many years, and we bought it from him. Decorated the whole house top to bottom when we moved, before moving in, because we were in rented accommodation, so we bought it early and did that. And after about a year, there was a very big black spot in my daughter's bedroom, which I couldn't work out what it was, on the ceiling. And I went up in the loft, and what it was the condensation pipe coming out of the ensuite bathroom, which was like a grey pipe up, and then a grey pipe along to the front of the house where the apex was, to basically remove steam. Because the pipe was 3.5 meters long and they needed 4.5 meters, instead of cutting the pipe and putting a joiner in, they'd actually put 3 flexi silicon pieces gaffer taped together, which had then obviously come apart and had basically seeped through onto the insulation and then onto the plasterboard. And there's no way the bloke that lived here before me did that. That's been done from the time of install. I mean, I went up there, I went and put some guttering up there and sellotape that on. But
that's outrageous. I mean,
the build quality of houses these days is poor, and also the dot and dab depth. I don't know if you've got it in yours, but the dot and dab depth doesn't quite work in every single room with the size of plasterboard screws you can buy.
Right.
Because you put them in, and some rooms, I'm about 3 or 4 mil adrift. You know where you've got the tip on the plasterboard screw?
Yes.
That just hits the brickwork. So then I've got a massive hole in the wall. It's not.
I've got to say, so we got lucky. So we were only the 3rd people to move in here. We bought really early. And they were selling quite slowly on here, so they weren't in a mad rush to build them, to finish them, because I think sales were... Because it's a Redrow development. They're a bit more expensive, so they don't sell as quick as sort of the Millers and the Bellways and everything like that. I can't complain too much. I've got some dodgy pointing, which isn't a big deal. Like I said, I don't like the windows and doors. But there's 4 companies involved in the fitting of these windows and doors. So there was a company fitting the windows and the French doors. There was a company to fit the composite doors. There was a company to spray the composite doors.
What, on site?
And there was a company to silicone seal everything else.
I bet they've not used silicone, have they? I bet they've used mastic, which cracks.
Yeah. And it's that thick.
I think it might have been Bellway over in Reading. They contacted me, and I ended up passing them on to our sister company. I said, I can't really do much for you. But they said that their doors, they buy... So you're talking about having one person in to fit your composite door. Before they've come in, they've already been processed through 3 different people, because they said we get the outer frame from one place, the glass from another, the slab from another, and then we get the 4th person to fit it. And then, if you're right, is they've got those 4 people in already, and then they've got the other person to come and silicone it. And they wonder why they've got problems. Do you know, if you come to me, I says, you'll just get a full door set, and you can just get one person in to fit it. Where's your problem?
It cannot be. the excuse has always been, oh well, it's cheaper for them to do that, but how?
It's cheap. No, it's. I went. Because I'm fairly new. I went on a sales pitching course, and it's between cost and price. Price is always discussed. Cost is never. The price of something is 50 quid. The cost of something is 50 quid, and then repairs every year. So it's not 50 quid.
No.
You know, if you buy, I don't know, if you buy a Makita drill or whatever, and it costs you 200 quid, and it lasts for 10 years without any kind of maintenance, that's fine. If you buy a drill at 50 quid, and every year you need a new chuck and new brushes, that's not costing you 50 quid anymore. It's costing you 4 times that. So I don't know how it's cost effective, but I'm not in procurement, so that doesn't bother me.
I just find it, it frustrates me because the amount people pay for new houses, you wouldn't buy. It's like putting plastic wheel trims on a Bentley. You wouldn't do it.
No.
You spend 200, 300 grand on a car, Lamborghini, with everything on it, and they put your shit wheel trims on instead of mega ridiculous. Like, why? You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it, and winds and doors, but they're filling the holes in your house. They're your first barrier to security, the first barrier to heat loss. They make or break the look of a house. Yet most of the time, companies plumb for the cheapest crap they can find, and
you go back to composite doors, and they are probably the most used item in a house, other than plug sockets. The composite door, which is generally a front door, is the most used product in a new build.
Yep.
Because it's literally the entrance in and out.
Yep.
4, 5, 6 times a day.
And this is what I mean. It's not as if it's like a Velux or the downstairs loo tap that you hardly use.
It's used as a luxury. Yeah.
You use it every day. It frustrates me. We've had some comments. So, Kev's door is an early Vista composite. Leon's saying a $3,000 wood door will swell and contract. However, it's expected as it's wood. Are we mis-selling solid core doors? Fair point. Kev fitted his own door. That's why it's in good working condition. There you go.
But he's not telling you he's adjusting it every 2 months, is he?
He won't be telling me the truth. Michael Hagan, when I purchased my house 10 years ago, the door was replaced within a week of me getting the keys.
Can't blame him.
Barrett's hated it as my door looked superior to the rest of the houses. Well,
there's a load around here that are having doors replaced, and I tried to get someone on board who was looking at growing their business, and I said, just come around my area, I'll do it for you. I don't mind walking around with the kids.
Tons of doors to replace.
Yeah, there's loads. I'll just drop leaflets through. It doesn't bother me. I think that was a few years ago now. So I think that's a valuable point in saying, go and look at this door, and this is what you can have, and it will cost you this. Do a flat rate and just give them 5 doors to choose from. People will take up on it. You'll get the one that wants a slightly better door, so you charge them for it.
We had a job not so long ago, like Michael, he'd fitted his new door within weeks of him moving in. We did the same with somebody else. They wanted rip that thing out and put their own mega door in. And I know these places have covenants of stuff, but they're never enforced. They never follow through on them, because they're too preoccupied building the rest of the site. They might be pissed off about it. They might not like it, but I don't think they'd ever follow through on enforcing whatever could be enforced on them.
There's a house around the corner from us that's a really nice house. I've had an eye on it for a long time, but it's still not quite for sale. It keeps popping up, and then they take it off the market. But they've all got white, like big half-hung windows, which replicate VSs.
Yeah.
And then a grey composite door with a grey outer frame. And if that was on any other house, it just wouldn't look right, and they'd probably get pulled up on it because it's not in keeping with the area.
No.
But because they're out of the way of everyone, they get away with it. But there's a lot of houses like we live quite close to farmland, about 100 yards away, and there's a lot of old.
Are you not in a conservation area then? Are you?
No, it's an old village. That was, that surrounded the local pub, and then they built, a huge housing estate on it right next to the motorway. But there's a lot of what is like farm outbuildings and or old houses. You know, where you on a farm and you get dozens of properties that just don't do anything. They're just storage. Well, they started regenerating and doing those up, and then having like agate grey windows, and a couple of them have got agate grey flush windows in, and they look incredible. Like with the old, like the painted cob, they look fantastic. But no one else in this property could ever have in this development could have flush, because it wouldn't look right. They're all just, it did look too nice.
Yeah, fair play. Leon's comment there. Leon, this is a genuine offer, by the way. You're more than welcome. I'm putting barbecue on tomorrow night. If you can get up to my house and you're available tomorrow night, you're more than welcome.
Bring the floppy cheese.
Bring for a burger and a drink. You're more than welcome to join me, mate. You're more than welcome. But his comment about how we miss selling solid core doors.
I honestly think is, forget the word solid core. I genuinely think we are mis-selling as an industry composite doors, because they are being sold as an upgrade as PVC, and they're not. They're a low maintenance timber alternative.
If you look at doorstops, obviously got a solid core. Endurance is solid hardwood. Solidors is solid hardwood. Wood makes up the mass majority of that product. Most of it is wood. You've got a PVC outer frame and a skin. Everything else is wood.
But that's the problem. I think the PVC outer frame doesn't move as much as the slab does. Once that's fixed, that's you're combining two different products there. That's possibly an issue.
So do we need to rethink the outer frame, or do we? What do we do? I mean, obviously, because you're dealing with two very different products there. A composite door slab is always going to behave very differently to the outer frame, because it's still a PVC outer frame.
Generally fully reinforced, which means there's even less movement. I said it from the beginning that coming out to this side, when you look at the composite doors that are available, some of them look more attractive than others, but they are all sold as an upgrade. Or you can have a PVC panel door at 900 quid, and a full panel door are expensive, and they're horrible. Or you can have a composite door for 1,100 quid. There's literally £200 worth of difference. But the work that goes into and the aesthetics of a composite door far more replicates timber. I mean, if I was to start up a composite door installation company, I wouldn't ever offer. This is just me personally, and I may not be very successful with it, but I would not offer a smooth white outer frame. Every single outer frame that I put out there will be white foiled.
Yes. Oh God, yeah. No, I can get on board with that.
Look, and I might not get very much business from it because people wouldn't want to pay. But I mean, from us, this is talking money.
No, I disagree. I think they would, because
you're looking 15 quid difference between
it's not expensive. If you're going
to
look,
the lead time of it, but
the days of £1,000 door are dead. I mean, the amount of price increases we've had now, those days are long gone. I mean, people are going to be ploughing 1,500, £2,000 into a composite door now.
If you go north of the border, north of the border, they're looking £2,500 anyway.
All right, so you're not going to lose a sale for just automatically giving a customer white wood grain out of frame?
No, at the cost of 20 quid to you, and even if you are, is it better to spend 20 quid with your supplier and get the job than not at all?
Yes. And even if you're a terrible salesperson, you're not going to lose a door sale for 20 quid because you're going to give them white foil as standard.
Yeah.
You're just not.
I really, the white foil or the cream foil, they're slightly off white dependent on what the property is. So if you've got a rendered property that's like an off white, like a K rend, you don't want white because it's very white then against the property. But a foiled outer frame as standard would be what I'd be pushing every day of the week, because although it's only costing you 15 quid, you can probably actually charge that a little bit extra because you're genuinely pushing the fact that it is a better priced timber alternative rather than an upgrade on a PVC door.
Leon's commented, he's got a solid car door and it's never given me a problem. It's only been opened about 3 times. Who uses the front door? Fair point. We would have more problems with it if it was our main door.
I've got one of my own doors fitted by one of my own customers that was actually, believe it, a sample initially to them. And then when they changed the showroom around, it was going begging. So I asked them to come and pop it in at mine. And although it was the wrong colour and I got it in the neck from the missus because I picked the wrong door, and I still do today, I have very few problems with it, but it swells like you wouldn't believe in its south-facing property, and you really, it gets hot.
Do you know what though? I think this for me again comes down to education to the public. Every door swells, whether it's PVC, timber, composite, alley, and no matter what colour, white to black and anything in between, everything swells to some degree. I've got a Chartwell Green, an ex-showroom door. I'm using it as a gate, okay? It's been sunny today, quite warm, it's expanded. It just happens. It closes fine now. I came in earlier on today, it was catching at the top. It expanded a bit. Tonight it's fine. We're not doing a good enough job of talking about how the materials perform in different weather circumstances. If you've got a black door in a south-facing area, it's going to swell like hell, no matter what it's made from. Timber, alley, PVC, it's just going to soak it all up and move massive. We're not doing a good enough job in educating the customer about how their new door they're going to sink 2-3 grand into is actually going to perform.
No,
I don't think we are. Kevin, red doors fade, end of, should be banned.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, red doors do fade. But people
remember
like
the old
red doors.
pink Corsas?
You are?
Remember the old pink Corsas? You must have seen them driving around.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah. Where they were red, and then within about 2 years, they had a massive pink spot in the bonnet and on the
yeah, and on the roof. And
on
on the
the
bonnet,
yeah. Awful.
Bloody awful. PVC. Oh, Michael knows his onions here. PVC expansion is 0.9 mil per 10 degrees. I never knew that. There you go. Leon Day, agree, Jason, totally. However, we are telling people it's zero maintenance, mis-selling. He's right. He's not wrong. We are going around telling people zero maintenance. When
it's a term very badly used. It should be low maintenance.
Low maintenance. Because
zero maintenance means you don't have to do anything. But we all know that you have to go around your hinges every year and spray them with a bit of silicone
No
spray.
door, no window is ever zero maintenance. Ever. Even if you just clean it.
What about self-cleaning glass? What's your point on that?
Self-cleaning glass?
Yeah.
Don't work.
I had someone complain that it wasn't cleaning itself. I was like,
if it don't rain, it won't work, will it?
It's been dry for 6 weeks. Yeah, but it's self-cleaning. We're going to have a difficulty here, I think. This is going to be a difficult conversation. I'm like, could you, why don't you just water it with a hose pipe? Yeah, but it's self-cleaning. Like, yeah, we're going around.
Yeah, but you're not getting it with all. Right, listen, customer, listen. Shut up a minute.
When it's self-cleaning, you don't get a little picture that comes around and does it for you. There's this magic thing called water.
They all come while you're asleep and they brush it all off. Yeah.
That ginger bloke that holds on your roof is not a leprechaun cleaning it for you. That's just your neighbour that's too drunk again.
Yeah, you need to call police on him. I've seen him, he's a bad one. Look, I've never been bowled over by it, but you have to explain to customers it requires water.
It's a chemical reaction.
Yes.
It's literal science in your roof that you need heat to encrust.
Yep, to break it down.
And then the water to run it off. And if you've got a shallow pitch, it's going to run off slightly slower than a steeper pitch.
And if you've got birds, you're going to see all of that mess as well.
Yeah. And if you're looking out your window every morning and it hasn't rained yet, then yes, it's still going to look dusty, obviously.
I've said it quite bluntly to some customers. Oh, I've got dust on me. I was like, yeah, it hasn't rained. And I'm not just talking a bit of drizzle.
No, it
needs to rain.
I've got dust on my roof. Yeah, but you've also got it on your car. Yeah, but that car's not self-cleaning. All right, okay, well, one of them, are we?
Honestly, it's... Yeah, we sell self-cleaning roofs. We don't make a big deal about it. It just...
Active glass, where they changed it from self-cleaning to active, that was a positive difference, and it helped everyone. But yeah, the whole self-cleaning was a struggle for a few years.
It has to be circumstances for it to work. The last month would have been fine. I bet there's loads of clean glass roofs at the minute, but we're about to have 3 or 4 weeks of very, very dry weather with no rain in sight. I mean, there's going to be
for the phone calls of dusty roofs then.
Rather
you than me.
Like, has it rained? No.
The hose pipe out. Just give it water.
Listen, some of the you're going to get me in a rant now.
I'll sit back. I'm quite happy to listen. I like seeing logical rants though. I don't like people that just talk nonsense. But if it's a logical rant, crack on.
We had a customer ring up complaining that she had leaves in the gutter, and she wanted us to clean them. But why? It's not. We've fitted the gutter. It's not my fault. You've got trees.
Did you not offer that as a free, do you know what, every night I'll come round and I'll pick a leaf out of your gutter just as a customer.
That's where I went wrong, Callum. I really should have.
Yeah. I don't, that's not your customer's fault, that's yours.
She rings up, she goes, what are you going to do? I'm like, do about what? Well,
I'll come and cut your tree down so they won't be in there anymore.
Well, I've got leaves in my gutter and it's blocking it, so get on your ladder or employ someone to. Well, you've got to come do it, so we don't have to do anything of the sort. You don't. If you buy a car, you don't go back to the garage and get it cleaned every 2 weeks because you've driven it and it's got dusty. You need to clean it. No. You own the product now. You maintain it.
I can hear Lee, although he's not here. He's going to watch this back and he's going to be turning in his bed. You were wrong. You should have gone back. But is there an opportunity there to say, look? Oh, fucking hell, no. But is there an opportunity there to turn around and say, right, I'll tell you what, I'll pop round, I'll sort your guttering out, and I'll tell you, I've got something that'll help you out in the future that you'll be able to clean it. We're not responsible for this, but I'll help you out. Stick hedgehog in there. I can get you 20 more hedgehog. Will that work for you? And then they know. It's that sometimes you can go that a little bit above and beyond, but other times you go above and beyond.
No one's got time to go above and beyond right now. We're all stretched to the limit, but...
you could have offered to take the guttering off so they'll never have leaves in it again.
Just kill the roof instead.
Just give them a nice waterfall down the windows. It's water feature.
We had another one. We went to do a door, and it needed a lintel, and there was a soldier course. It was a single skin. I'll tell you this story. It's 10 past. It's nearly 10 past, and then I'll let you go. We'll go after evening. But and this is what frustrates me about with customers. I love them to bits, but sometimes they just infuriate you. So we're fitting this door. It needs a lintel. She's having renovation work done inside a hallway, including plastering. And I'm saying to her, don't do the plastering. We've got to fit a lintel before we do the door. It's a single skin. We've got to grind out. It's going to dislodge. Just don't do the plastering. Just wait, okay? So we get there. The builder turns up, and then I get a phone call. Properly kicking off, like, builder just turned up and got on with work. I'm like, right. Well, I've not even had a chance to make him a cup of tea. I said, well, did you ask him? No. He just got on with work. I said, did he turn up on time? Yeah. I said, I'm struggling to hear the complaint. Oh, he's got dust on my bushes.
Not the right place to have dust.
I said, we sent you a letter in advance. Did you read it? No. Right. So when we grind out for a lintel, the motor is going to get dusty. We tell you to move stuff out of the way, you know, to avoid stuff getting dusty. And he parked. I just had my driveway done, and he parked on wrong part. It's like, well, did you tell him? Did you? When he came into your drive, was there any signs up to say don't park it? No. Well, no. So well, he can't read minds.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, oh God, and then the beauty came. Well, I've had my plastering done, and all the plaster's come off. I'm like, oh.
Because it's not a time to dry.
I told you not to do the plastering until we've done our work. What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah.
I gave you. I told you not to do it for the reason that's happened. So you've rung up to complain about a builder turning up on time, doing his work, causing the inevitable dust that it would have caused, but you didn't read the communication we gave you. Parked on the wrong side of the drive because he's not a telepath. So I said, tell you what, we'll leave it there. So we cancelled the order. We used the door as a showroom door. We lost money on it because there was absolutely not a chance in hell we were ever going to get. Can you imagine if we'd have fit the door? We've not even fit the door at this point.
Yeah, you'd have not got full payment for it.
No
So
chance.
take a massive hit and just be like, I wish it was a showroom, rather than, because once you fit that door and you put those screws into the brickwork, you're covering that for 10 years. Every year you're going to have a call of something, however minor. They're going to take you for what they can.
I was talking to my dad. I said, look, we've got a problem here. He says, what? I says, we've got a really shouty person complaining we've turned up on time and just got on with work. I said, we need
if you can get a builder to turn up on time, you need a medal, not a complaint.
Well, that's what I said to her. I says, you understand how rare that is, don't you?
The fact that a builder's turned up on time and not asked for a cup of tea before striking a blow, you've done all right there.
I said, I said to her, so you genuinely complaining he's turned up at the time he said he would come and just started the work? I said, you understand this is not a complaint. This is not this. We're not going to hear this. We're not going to accept this as a complaint at all.
No, it's not even worth.
I just said to him, I said, we need to wave this on because we ain't even fit the door.
No, and like I say, once you put that in, because we as an industry decide everything's guaranteed for 10 years, you've got 10 years worth of problems coming.
I just some of the. I could go on for 4 hours about customer stories, but we won't. Got a couple more comments. Leon, I had new windows fitted 8 years ago, and I've never maintained the hardware once. I know I should, so how do we expect customers unless it's the standard? He is right.
All of goes down to, we do it with Fabricator. I don't know if I think your Fabricator does. Is issue you or help you with a maintenance guide that can be passed on to the customer that just tells them very basic information. And one thing that I don't think they specify in these maintenance guides throughout our industry, that what's the go-to for anyone that wants to grease anything, is WD-40.
Yes, because there's loads of conflicting information on that.
Well, WD-40, no matter who, it rots anything in our industry.
It kills it. No, you can't use that.
I use SP90. SP90.
We've used double T in the past.
I use it like a silicone spray. I mean, the one thing, if you want to spend a bit, I use ACF 50, but I wouldn't advise that for anyone. I use that on the motorbikes.
I think customers recognise double T. If they come on and say to us, we've used WD-40, I'm like,
Just use anything that's silicone-based, and that's because, I mean, WD-40 do actually do a silicone-based spray now.
Oh, do they?
Which is good. Yeah, it's not a bad spray, actually. I wouldn't say I use it all the time. I prefer my proper machine brands. But yeah, they do a silicone spray, and that's the one to use. A squirt on a hinge and a squirt on a door lock, and it'll keep it for a year. Yeah. But those maintenance guides, I don't think are used to the value that they could be.
No.
I suppose it doesn't really matter, because if you've got customers like you that don't read what you send them, it's irrelevant anyway.
Don't get me wrong, they're not all like that. The mass majority are very reasonable people. It's just the very, very terrible ones that stick in your mind.
Yeah.
I suppose that's what I want to do with DGB Consumer, is try and bridge that gap and educate. And
are you just going to post, or are you going to offer an opportunity of a question and a response?
I will offer the opportunity of a question and a response, perhaps on a forum where I might ask certain people,
Like moderators and things like that. Yeah.
I appreciate that's a big ask at this moment in time because everyone's mega busy and time is not overly free. But if I could set up a system where somebody can leave a question and somebody can respond with an informative answer, then absolutely, yeah, of course I will. But I've written my own sort of how-to guides, sort of hints and tips, stuff about what's happening right now in terms of demand and supply and price, stuff like that. Because, like I said, there's a lot of media in the industry for the size that it is, but none of it points towards the consumer. So, I don't know. Like I said,
They're the ones
hopefully I
that
can
control our sales at the end of the day. They are.
Yeah.
They don't want windows. We don't make them and you don't fit them.
No. I mean, hopefully I can bridge that gap and help the public to understand. So, there we go. Well, look, Callum, it's 10:15. I don't want to take up all your weekend.
Thank you for the invite. It was a bit impromptu.
Thank you for the last minute.
I was a bit weary to start with after a little nap, but it happens.
No, good man. Listen, thank you for jumping in at last minute. Much appreciated. You're always a good guest, and you're always welcome back again. Leon, get me on WhatsApp tonight, pal. If you're available, let me know. We'll sort something out for tomorrow. So, everybody else, enjoy your weekend, your bank holiday weekend. We've finally got some sun. So go enjoy it. Have a barbecue. See your friends. See your family, and have a good evening.
No.